Have you ever heard of a relationship described as being built on perfection and chaos? Well, for Kelsey and Evan, that description would prove to be deadly. This is the chilling story of the Gemini and Virgo apartment case. Kelsey and Evan were roommates who became lovers, sharing a cramped apartment in the heart of the city. Their personalities were polar opposites. Kelsey, a classic Gemini, was spontaneous, a whirlwind of energy, always changing her mind and her plans at the drop of a hat. Evan, a textbook Virgo, was the complete opposite. He craved order, structure, and quiet. He lived by schedules and to-do lists, finding comfort in predictability. As you can imagine, their tiny apartment became a pressure cooker, the tension between their natures constantly simmering just below the surface. One day, Evan didn't show up for work. Then another day passed. His worried co-workers, knowing his punctual nature, called the police to request a welfare check. When officers arrived at the apartment, they were initially struck by how immaculate it was. Everything was in its proper place, surfaces gleamed, not a speck of dust in sight. It was a level of cleanliness that was almost sterile. This was clearly Evan's influence. But the calm, orderly scene was shattered by what they found next. Inside the bedroom closet, they discovered a bundle. It was a neat cocoon of blankets, meticulously wrapped and secured with duct tape. Inside was the body of Evan. Kelsey was home, and when questioned, her story was hazy. She claimed they had a huge argument, and that she simply blacked out. She couldn't remember what happened. It was a convenient gap in her memory, but her story didn't quite line up with what the neighbors had to say. Police interviewed the people living next door, expecting to hear stories of a violent, screaming fight. Instead, the neighbors reported something far more unsettling. They hadn't heard any shouting or sounds of a struggle. All they heard were calm, deliberate movements, the soft thud of furniture being moved, the hum of a vacuum cleaner. It sounded less like a fight and more like someone cleaning. This detail sent a shiver down the investigators' spines. Was it possible that in the aftermath of a murder, the first instinct was not to panic or flee, but to tidy up, to erase the chaos and restore order? But the most bone-chilling piece of evidence was found on the kitchen counter. It was a small piece of paper with a handwritten list, just for simple lines: apologize, fix the problem, clean everything, don't panic. The handwriting was neat, the words simple, yet their meaning was terrifyingly ambiguous. Kelsey was arrested on the spot. During interrogations, she never explained the list. She never admitted to writing it, nor could she offer any insight into its purpose. This is where the case splits into haunting theories. Prosecutors and police psychologists argue that the list is a clear sign of premeditation. They believe Kelsey wrote it, a cold, calculated checklist for murder and the subsequent cover-up. Apologize could have been a sarcastic or literal first step in a confrontation. Fix the problem was a chilling euphemism for ending Evan's life. Clean everything was the instruction for the cover-up, which she followed to the letter. And don't panic was a reminder to herself to remain calm and collected throughout the entire horrific act. It paints a picture of Kelsey as a remorseless, methodical killer, hiding her dark intentions behind a chaotic exterior. But there's another theory, one that some find even more tragic. What if the list wasn't Kelsey's at all? What if it was Evan's? Think about it. He was a man who relied on lists to manage his life, to cope with stress and anxiety. Perhaps, sensing their relationship was reaching a breaking point, he wrote this list for himself. A plan to save their love, apologize for his rigidity, fix the problem, the core issues between them. Clean everything, a literal and metaphorical goal to clear the air and their cluttered space. And don't panic, a mantra to stay calm as he tried to navigate the emotional storm that was Kelsey. In this version, the list is not a murder plan, but a desperate plea for reconciliation, a final, futile attempt to impose order on the chaos that was about to consume him. So, was this a cold-blooded murder meticulously planned and executed, or was it a tragic, final attempt by a man to fix a broken relationship, a list that became his own epitaph? Kelsey remained silent, and without her testimony, the true meaning of that list, and the final moments of Evan's life, remain a mystery. The truth was wrapped in that neat cocoon of blankets and perhaps buried with him forever. Thanks for watching, and if you have a theory about this case, let me know in the comments below. See you next time.